If you're planning on moving to St. Louis, there are 14 things that you need to know about before living in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to get into those right now. Most of these things are like insider secrets that only St. Louis locals know about, but I'm sharing them with you here today. I love helping people and families relocate from around the world to move right here to St. Louis, Missouri. If you're planning a move to St. Louis, Missouri and you'd like some guidance on what neighborhood will be a best fit for your family, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I would love to hear more about your family and what you guys are looking for so I can help you find the perfect fit. The number 14 thing that you need to know about before moving to and living in St. Louis, Missouri is that we have phenomenal tap water. Now, the best thing about our tap water is that it has no taste whatsoever. And I actually kind of take this for granted until I talk to people who relocate here and move here from out of town, from other cities and stuff. They're like, I can't believe how great your tap water tastes. Like, I don't even buy a bottle of water anymore. And really, like, you don't really need to buy all the big cases of bottled water and everything at your Sam's and Costco's and Walmart's and everything. You can just get yourself a good, like pretty much I refill this like every single day or multiple times a day and just straight from the tap, and I'm good to go. That's my water source every single day. It's clean and crisp and clear and just tastes like nothing, which is what you want. It's awesome.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Number 13. When you're living in St. Louis, you need to prepare for all 4 seasons. Our winters can get darn cold and our summers can get really just grossly hot and humid. We do get some snow in the wintertime, anywhere from like 2 to 3 snowfalls a year, kind of on average. And usually our snowfalls are like between like 1 to 3 inches, not a huge deal. Like we will get some decent sized snowfalls, kind of like every 3 years or so, where it's like 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. Anything like over 6 inches though is like, it's like big time, big deal. Like there's a buzz in the city. Like, people think the whole town's going to shut down, but in actuality, like our street crews are really good at cleaning the roads, and like really like within like 24 hours, even if you get like a 10 inch, like a really rare like 10 to 12 inch snowfall, within 24 hours, you're going to be able to get out and about with no problem really, as far as the roads being clear and that kind of stuff to get out of your house and get to the store, get to work or whatever. So it's not really that big of a deal, but we do get some snow. Number 12. Seasonal allergies are a thing here. So wherever you're watching this, whatever other part of the country you're coming from, if you have seasonal allergies there, they're going to follow you here most likely. I'm sorry to say. So like especially like in the spring, pretty much in the spring for about a 2 to 3 week period, everything outside is covered in just like a glaze of yellow dust, which is just all pollen. And like pretty much like if you during that time of the year, it sucks because we like to keep our windows open just to have like fresh air in the house and stuff. But like that brings the pollen in the house, and you end up like, when you dust and stuff, you just got a glaze of pollen on your furniture and inside and stuff too. So, a lot of people, once you turn the heat off, instead of opening the windows up, they just go straight to the AC to avoid like sucking in the pollen in their house if they have really bad allergies. So something to consider if you have a seasonal allergy, affliction yourself where you're living right now, it's probably going to follow you here as well. Number 11. Potholes are a big nuisance here, especially like in the late winter, like early spring, when the temperatures, can kind of range from, it can be below freezing one day, then it can get like, into the 60s or so the next day. So like just that fluctuation of, warm and cold, freezing and not freezing, it kind of, causes the asphalt and the concrete to, to, I guess, like swell and everything. And that causes it to crack and pop. And then that gives you the potholes. And so really like in the early spring, late winter is when you're going to see a lot of potholes like on the highways and in the roads. You just got to kind of keep an eye out for it. And once kind of that time passes, the road crews are pretty good about patching them or even just, paving over those spots where it's really rough. But it is an issue. You're going to, if you're not careful, you're going to go through some tires and maybe some bent rims. And I mean, like, I don't even want to think about if you're a motorcyclist, like riding a motorcycle around that time of year when there's a lot of potholes. That'd be pretty darn scary. So just something to consider. Number 10, St. Louis is a sports town. We love our sports. We love our Cardinals. We love our Blues, our St. Louis City SC, our new MLS team. We even love our Battlehawks from the XFL. So if you're a sports fan, you're never going to be short on conversation and on topic of conversation when you're here in St. Louis. Pretty much, if there's a lull in conversation, if there's an awkward silence when you're around somebody, you're kind of, just meeting them, all you got to do is throw out like, hey, how about the Redbirds? Or how do you think the Blues are going to do this season? And you're probably going to be, into a conversation that's going to take you many different places. Number 9, car break-ins are a big issue in and around the downtown St. Louis area. And it's kind of gotten beyond ridiculous at this point, but it is a major problem. Last year, there were 11,381 reported car break-ins in the city of St. Louis. And that was a 24% increase from 2021 when there was 9,214 break-ins. So the majority of the car break-ins are happening in downtown St. Louis and then Central West End and the Shaw neighborhood. Those are like the top 3 neighborhoods and areas where car break-ins are happening. And it really sucks because I just mentioned that St. Louis is a huge sports town and all of our sports team stadiums are downtown. Fortunately, I haven't had this happen to me, but I've had friends where it happened to them. You know, they went to a sporting event, come out of the sporting event in a good mood, whatever, going back to your car, and all of a sudden your window is busted out and somebody's broken into your car and stolen some stuff out of your car. And so it's, like I said, it's a huge problem. It really sucks, and the city needs to do something about it, but just something that I think you need to be aware of when you're moving here and living here in St. Louis. Number 8, so sticking with the crime theme here, the majority of the major violent crimes that happen in St. Louis are happening in like a few different like isolated neighborhoods in North St. Louis City. And so those neighborhoods and the really high rate of crime in those neighborhoods kind of throw off the numbers for the whole area. So like, are those parts of St. Louis dangerous? Like, heck yes. But is the St. Louis area as a whole a dangerous place to live? No, it is not. Especially when you're talking about like the county and the suburbs surrounding, you know, the city and the outskirts of the city. Those crimes tend to be very low in the St. Louis County, especially like your violent crimes and that kind of stuff. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, and then also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about here today or in any other videos that you've seen on my channel, please give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I would be happy to answer any questions you have about living in St. Louis. Number 7, St. Louis is a great city for beer and wine lovers. St. Louis is home to the legendary Anheuser-Busch Brewery. You can actually take a free tour of the brewery to learn the history of the brewery and about the Anheuser-Busch family. And also you can see like how they make the Budweiser, the Bud Light, the Michelob, all the different Anheuser-Busch products you want to learn about. You can do that for free at Anheuser-Busch downtown. But beyond Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis is also a huge beer city just beyond that, even like microbrews. We've got a ton of different microbrews, and actually a lot of the microbreweries around town are spin-offs of people that were either like brewmasters at Anheuser-Busch or just employees, and just people that have a passion for brewing beer. So if you're a beer lover, make sure that when you come into town, you either check out Urban Chestnut, Four Hands Brewing Company, Schleifli's, Bottle Works, Perennial Artisan Ales, or Second Shift Brewing Company, or brewery, something like that. Second Shift. Just look up Second Shift and you'll find it. But those are probably like the top 5 like most popular places. There's other places too in town. So just whenever you come in town, just do the old Hey Siri, find a brewery near me, and you'll be able to find a lot of great places, a lot of options for you to go. And if you're a wine lover, this might be surprising to you, but St. Louis is an awesome area for wines and wineries. So you're going to be about 90 minutes at the most away from like some fantastic Midwestern wineries, just some beautiful scenery with rolling hills and stuff. Just great days can be spent at some of the local wineries here in the St. Louis area. All right, the number 6 things that you need to know before moving to St. Louis, Missouri is that St. Louis is a phenomenal food town. So for whatever reason, I hate the word foodie, so I'm trying not to say the word foodie and call St. Louis a foodie town, even though I've already said it 3 times. But like St. Louis, seriously though, St. Louis has phenomenal restaurants, like locally owned restaurants, amazing chefs, and like St. Louis is cool because like there's not like one spot where all the restaurants are. They're spread out around the whole area. So really, you're within like a 5 to 10 minute drive of an amazing restaurant in most parts of St. Louis, wherever you are, depending on whatever neighborhood you live in. There's chances are there's a phenomenal, really highly rated and like amazing restaurant right in your neighborhood. I'm not even going to get into naming like a few of the different restaurants. So just whenever you come in town, if you're looking for a recommendation, let me know. I'd be happy to send you a list of recommendations as far as like where you are in town and what kind of food you're looking for. Number 5, there are a few key differences between St. Louis City and St. Louis County. One of the main differences is that there's a lot more diversity in the city than there is in the county. Not just racial diversity, but also sexual orientation, just kind of lifestyle diversity overall. And a lot of city neighborhoods do a great job of like making it feel like an inclusive environment. Like, you're going to see a whole lot more pride flags. You're going to see a lot more like Black Lives Matter signs in the city than you do in the county. The city folks in the city neighborhoods really do a great job of just celebrating everybody. Really in St. Louis County, outside of like Maplewood, Brentwood, and maybe like University City, those areas are a lot more diverse than other parts of the county. But for the most part, the county is not very diverse at all. I live in the county, and I really wish I saw a lot more diversity here than I do. Number 4, there are over 500 parks in the St. Louis area, and most of them are pretty great. Most neighborhoods in St. Louis either have a park inside the neighborhood or just on the outskirts of the neighborhood, like just right next to it, or just a short bike ride or walk away from the neighborhood. And just like growing up here in St. Louis, like I love the fact that my neighborhood had a smaller park. It wasn't that great of a park. It had one or two tennis courts, like a really small baseball field, like a kind of a rinky-dink playground on it. But man, we had so much fun riding our bikes up there and just playing all day in the summertime and everything. It was a great experience, and I love that kids have that option to, especially nowadays, it just seems like kids are on their tablets and just inside on video games and stuff so much more. But the fact that there's options for parks for them to get out and play some sports, get active, climb around in jungle gyms and just use their imagination. That's one of my favorite things about having so many parks here in town, is that it really kind of encourages kids to be active and just be a kid and be outdoors and outside and all the stuff that kids are supposed to be doing, skinning their knees up and falling and, just playing with their buddies and stuff, just in an active way. But also outside of the kids, like a lot of the parks around St. Louis have great walking paths or bike riding paths, just awesome ways for, us adults to get great exercise and have some fun too. Number 3, St. Louis has some amazing free amenities. The St. Louis Zoo is definitely at the top of the list as far as the most popular free destinations for families and for people in St. Louis. But there are a number of other awesome free entertainment things that you can do in St. Louis. We have great museums. They have free admission days. There's the St. Louis Science Center. Historic sites like the Gateway Arch and the old courthouse downtown are free. And there's the Jefferson National Expansion Museum that's actually below the arch grounds and below the arch. So the arch grounds and everything are free. The museum underneath there is free. So now to go up in the actual arch to get to the top of it, that will cost you some money. That's you're just going to need to buy a ticket on that. And I recommend if you come into town, buy some tickets ahead of time, because usually if you're going to buy on the day of or even the day before, they're usually going to be sold out. So you're going to kind of plan that trip a little bit, a few days or a week, out at least to buy those tickets if you want to go up in the arch. But everything else on the arch grounds and everything is totally free. The number 2 thing that you need to know about living in St. Louis is that our downtown riverfront kind of sucks. Not kind of sucks, it sucks. I hate to say it, but I've got to be real. I mean, outside of the arch and the Gateway or the Jefferson National Expansion Museum that I talked about, outside of that, pretty much anything from the arch grounds down to the river and kind of east or north and south, if I can get my geography right here, anything north and south kind of, along the riverfront, there's just nothing there. It's just kind of gross. It's a bunch of logs and crap that washed up on there's cobblestone that goes down to it. It's a disappointing area because there's so much potential there. There's a lot of really cool buildings, brick buildings down there with really cool architectural features, especially on a spot called the Cleeds Landing. It's just to the north of the arch. The Cleeds Landing used to be kind of a hot spot with different clubs and bars and that kind of stuff, entertainment district. But nobody goes down there anymore. It's pretty much a ghost town. So I will say that there is some different plans in place right now for a revitalization of the area, which would be amazing if it actually happens. But honestly, I'm not gonna hold my breath because St. Louis is great at getting in their own way as far as making progress in these types of things a lot of times. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it either never happens or if it's years before it happens. But for now, the riverfront sucks. And the number 1 thing that you need to know about living in St. Louis is that St. Louis isn't just about one main area. It's about a number and many different neighborhoods and communities. To get the best experience possible when living in St. Louis, you need to visit and experience as many different communities around town as possible. And that includes a lot of the stuff we just talked about as far as the parks, the microbrews, the restaurants, all those kind of great things are all kind of spread out throughout different locations and different neighborhoods within St. Louis. From University City to the Delmar Loop to Kirkwood and Webster Groves to Maplewood to the Hill to Lafayette Square to the Grove, from Clayton to Chesterfield. The list goes on, but we've got a lot of awesome neighborhoods and communities in St. Louis. And it's the collection of these small neighborhoods and communities and the locally owned restaurants and ice cream shops and coffee shops and tattoo parlors and everything, all those small local businesses that make every community unique amongst itself. And that's really my favorite thing about living in St. Louis, is that there's so many different parts of town that you can go to, and you're going to be able to find a part of town or a neighborhood that's going to be your vibe, and you're going to match with it, and you're going to love it. My wife and I have a handful of places that we just love to go and visit over and over, and I'm sure that you're going to find your spot too. And if you want help finding your spot, this great spot that's going to be your vibe and just what you guys are looking for, what you and your family are looking for, please give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I would love to hear more about what you guys are looking for, and way I can help you find the perfect house, the perfect street, the perfect neighborhood that's going to meet your family's needs right here in St. Louis. Before you go, like I said before, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos that I can put out, because all my new videos are going to be about living in St. Louis, about different neighborhoods, highlighting different neighborhoods, giving different neighborhood tours, all that kind of stuff. And so I really want to be your guide and your resource for when you're moving here. I want to take away any stress and anxiety that comes along with moving, to a brand new city. I want to take that away for you and just help you answer any questions so that you're so confident that you found the right place for you when you move here to St. Louis.